Howdy, my name is Nolan T. Painter, and in today's video I'm going to talk about failing versus failure. So let me give you an example. In life, we are meant to fail. Straight up. We are given a lot of opportunities, and naturally we can't complete all of them. So we fail. Nonetheless, even in opportunities where we do pursue, like going to the gym, we are going to fail in the gym. Like when you go for a personal record or a personal best and you fail it. Or you'd go do a math test and you fail it. Or you didn't even do as good as you'd like. So in your mind, you failed the goal of doing better than you would have wanted to. And in life, all those failures are necessary because it's what allows us to be appreciative for when we succeed. Like with me, I failed in a relationship. And now I'm going to come together much stronger, and that taught me. Failure teaches us. Failure allows us to appreciate. Because why would you appreciate it if you've never failed? And that's really different from the alternative, which is failure, because failure involves giving up. Now in life, you're going to fail again and again and again, but you can't give up. The whole point is that you get through it and you don't give up. You can fail 100 times, but as long as you succeed once, you've succeeded. But if you fail once and then give up, well, you're a failure in the sense that you completely allowed for that misjudgment to ruin you for the rest of your life. With me in cadets, I'm a failure in cadets. I wanted to join the Air Force. I wanted to get into the Canadian military. That was a huge aspiration of mine. And I joined. I went for one day and I flunked and I failed because I was embarrassed. I didn't like it. I didn't feel like I fit in. And I failed right away. I was a failure because I was so scared I gave up before I was even given a really good opportunity to try and prove myself because I was worried I'd be behind. I was worried of failing. I was so scared of failure that true failure came in me giving up. I failed anyways. And that experience taught me that in life, I can never give up on something because I'm scared I'm going to fail. I'm scared I'm going to fail in the sense that I'm going to not keep my gym schedule, or I'm scared I'm going to lust again, or I'm scared I'm going to fail to make these videos consistently, or I'm scared I'm going to be a bad man for a relationship. And you know what? I might do all those things I'm scared of. I might fail again and again and again. But true failure lies in giving up, because then you're allowing your body and your mind to completely abandon the idea of having something that's worth living for. And in that sense, you're giving up because you completely abandon the dream that you've once had. So we all fail. It's a part of being human, but again, very importantly, there's a difference between failure and failing. A mistake is a teacher. It's what allows us to grow. Failing in a gym teaches you that you got a bit more work to go. Failing with lust teaches you that you need to find a new approach and work harder. But it also teaches us that it's okay to fail, and we need to understand that failing is a vital component to our success. Every man has choices in his life to face, and he must learn or leave, right? You say the wrong thing to someone you care about. That's a mistake. But you stop trying because you're worried it's going to happen again. That's true failure. The man who fails to stand up is stronger than the man who's never tired. Or sorry, stronger than the man who's never tried. Pardon me. And what that means is, the man who fails, he falls on his face. I fall on my face all the time. But he stands up stronger because of those failures. And he can fail 1,000 more times. But he will always be stronger than the man who's never tried to stand up, or he's never taken a step forward because he's worried he's going to fall on his face. The man who's fallen on his face 1,000 times has climbed a mountain, but the man who's too afraid to take a step has never left his home. So you got to realize in life, failure is necessary if you want to go anywhere. And, we got to reframe it. We got to reframe failure as a step in the climb up the mountain, not a fall from grace. When you fail, you're never losing anything. You're just gaining new perspective, right? Some people think they're losing out on what they could have had, or they're losing out on what they currently have. And to an extent, yeah, that's right. But the beauty is we're not going anywhere. So we need to respect the authority of time and how time will keep us going, especially in a relationship. You think you messed something up and you think you lost something that you would have wanted, or you think you ruined something that you wanted to do with this person, or you think that you couldn't make the most out of a night that you would have wanted to. That's not failure. That's just, you didn't get to do it. An unfortunate circumstance. but you have a lot of time. And in a good relationship, there will be no time barrier. There will be no external boundary that will prevent you from spending more time with this person. So in a good relationship, you won't be pressured with those things, and there will be another opportunity for it. So in a sense, you're not failing, you're just learning to find a new opportunity. A man who's afraid to fall is a man who's afraid to live. And if you truly want to live, you need to learn to fall down. And consequently, you need to learn how to get back up. You need to show that surrender is the only thing that kills potential. And why do you need to show that? Why does the world need to see that? Well, if the world doesn't see that surrender is the only thing that kills potential, then the world is going to look at you as someone who is gifted these things from an external source, which is bad, because then it looks like you haven't worked for the things you've wanted to work so hard on. As a man, we go to the gym, we work hard, or pardon me, as an aspiring man, we go to the gym, we work hard, we want to build a business, we want a beautiful relationship. And we need to show that we need to surrender. And that is the only thing that kills, we need to show that through surrendering kills potential. And that's not surrendering in a biblical sense. It's surrendering ourselves to failure. And when we don't show those things to people, when people see us, when people see all the things we've collected throughout the years and all of the progress we've made, if they don't see how we believe, if they don't see our philosophy, then they're going to think we're some spoiled kid. But a man is going to make it clear to everyone that by surrendering, by giving up, that kills your potential. And it's so important that men around the world address this and not just have this idea in their head, but verbally speak it to every human, is what allows for us to actually share these things. Me sitting here in my chair and talking to you, the viewer, explaining how surrender is the only thing that kills potential, allows you to further understand that if you truly want something, because the truth is every man has an unlimited potential and we can do literally anything we want, by surrendering, you're actually abandoning all of that. And a good man will show that to people. A good man will acknowledge that. And good people, a good woman will visualize that within their men and realize that through him surrendering, he's killing his potential. So he can't surrender. He never can give up, which is hard. It's a lot of pressure on a man. It's a lot of weight to carry as a man. And it's necessary that a good woman will support him and uplift him, so such that he may reach his potential. He can't surrender. And I apologize for the poor phrasing there. I'm really tired, and I understand that the word surrender could be interchanged with something else like giving up, as the word surrender is often correlated with religion and surrendering to religion, which is really different from surrendering to your potential or giving up, right? Because surrendering is often related to giving up, and in life you need to give up the bad things, but through giving up failure, you're often giving up good things, because without failure you can't actually achieve the good things. There's this new kind of philosophy that I follow. If you knew you had a certain amount of failures until you reached your big success, your big dream, how fast would you go through all those failures? If I knew that I, Nolan Painter, had only 34 more failures ahead of me, and then I would get basically my dream relationship, I would fail as often and as hard as possible. I wouldn't care what the consequences were. I would try and fail every minute. And we need to realize that that kind of is in a bit of a truth. Because we need to fail a certain amount of times before we can realize our mistakes. We need to fail a certain amount of times to find a new way to approach something or find the next big solution. Whatever it is, whether it's a new big business venture or if it's just a little habit we want to fix. If we're not failing, we're never woken up, because no one's going to come in and tell us how to think. That's our job. So we need to constantly fail to allow us to evaluate ourselves and reconstruct what is necessary to do in our lives. Men lose when they stop trying, because life isn't about winning every single time. It's about staying in the fight. Pardon me, my nose is bugging me. Wow, I think I have like allergies right now, and it is really itchy, so I apologize if I'm messing with my face right now. That's a habit I need to start working on. Not always bugging my face. And my nose is all congested. I don't know if you can tell. Whatever. It's the perks of being back home. Being back out in the forest is being surrounded by trees of which I'm allergic to. How can I be an awesome countryman if I'm allergic to the forest? Anyways, so yeah, it's all about staying in the fight. You know, in boxing, you lose when you're knocked out, and you lose when you give up on the fight. And it's the same with life, except in life, when you get knocked out, you can get back up and go in another fight. In life, when you fail, when you miss a punch, when you get smacked in the face, you can keep it going. But the moment you give up, the moment you forfeit, is the moment you lose everything in life. If you talk to people who are homeless or in a bad state in their life or just really down on money, you'll find that they gave up on a lot of things that they found important to them, and that's what led them to there. Because the truth is, it doesn't matter if you're poor or rich, broke or ugly, attractive, full of love, empty of love, etc. If you have faith to yourself, and if you don't give up, you can really achieve anything. Cristiano Ronaldo, his father passed away. He was poor. He's still the best soccer player of all time. That's pretty damn impressive. And it's not just ending with him. There's a lot of men, a lot of brave men and women all around the world. My mother, I'm very impressed with her. She came from a pretty crappy beginning. She had to fight for a lot of her stuff. She had to fight for her life. And she's got herself into a very impressive position now. So I'm thankful for that because, obviously I am. She's my mother, I'm her son. And I wouldn't exist if it wasn't for all that work. But it's a testament to how it doesn't matter how far down you are. It doesn't matter if you're even below rock bottom. People think rock bottom is the bottom, but no, it gets so much worse. And even if you are in that worst area, it's still possible to work hard. It's still possible to get to where you desire. And if you don't dream big, how can you get big? Right? Everyone wants to be a millionaire, but no one's putting the work in. So do it. And just like love and leadership and authenticity, endurance takes time. So what's important here is I said all these things. I said all these magical words that supposedly are supposed to mean something, but the truth is that they all take time. You're not going to appreciate everything I'm saying because I'm struggling to say it and because it takes time to appreciate it. You're not going to take everything I say and instantly allow it to impact your life or instantly allow it to implement it within your life because it takes time. It takes time to build. It takes time to reconstruct. Failure doesn't happen instantly. Failure happens whenever it wants. So, that could be right away or that could be in the next few years. You can also look at little failures, big failures, whatever it is. Disappointments, heartbreaks. Whatever the failure is, it takes time to achieve that. And it takes even longer to reflect on that. So if you want to grow, you need to wait for the opportunity. And believe me, they will come. Even God didn't promise easy victories. He promised strength through struggle. In Matthew 7:7, he really just says, you need to constantly be asking, right, from the Bible, Matthew 7:7, chapter 7, verse 7, you need to ask, seek, and knock. Which means you need to always be asking for something. You need to always be seeking towards that thing, and you can never be too afraid to knock. And that last part, knocking, is so important to me because so many people never do the last part. They'll pray for things, they'll do work towards it, but as soon as they're given the opportunity, they'll be so scared of failing that they'll give up. I did that throughout my life, and I was finally given a beautiful opportunity where I asked, I seeked, and then I did knock, and I knocked. And you know what? I failed. I failed spectacularly. I failed in the worst way I think I've ever had in my entire life. But I'm still thankful because I came away with learning from that and it made me a stronger man. And if I didn't knock, in this case, literally knocking on someone's door, then I wouldn't be here today. And I would have the shame and the guilt of not of doing it. And at the end of the day, I'm not upset with myself because even though I failed, I knew I was doing the right thing. I knew I was being a good man and I was trying to be genuine. And that's what was necessary, and that's what my takeaway was. And it allows me to be confident in what I'm doing and the works I'm creating and who I want to become. And I wouldn't have realized that if it wasn't for the knocking part, getting the opportunity, working for the opportunity. And so many people are faced with these opportunities and they're too afraid to take them because they're worried of failure. But that's where true failure lies. True failure lies when you give up before you're even taking the chance. So, when you make a mistake, the mind feels this shame. You feel shameful for taking the mistake. But that shame just wants comfort. That shame wants you to succeed so it doesn't have to worry anymore. But comfort really whispers quietly. So you need to realize it's whispering quietly and consistently such that comfort just wants you to sit still. Comfort doesn't want you to be out doing things. Comfort is quiet. Comfort wants you to sit in a room and not do anything so you can only focus on it and hear it. Comfort just wants you to quit. Comfort wants you to reach your peak or stay where you are so that way you don't have to worry about doing anything. And it's okay to want to be comfortable, but discipline lies in doing things whether you don't like them, or whether you like them or don't like them. It doesn't matter. You just got to do it. So that means being uncomfortable for an extent of time to work hard. I really love being uncomfortable because being uncomfortable allows me to grow a lot. I'm uncomfortable right now. My sinuses are messed up. My face is incredibly itchy. My allergies are going off. My throat's swelling. I'm going to school in the next few days. I have to take a plane back, and then the next few days tomorrow. I'm going to school tomorrow. I have to take the plane back to the big city, and I have to go back to my classes and all that. That is incredibly uncomfortable, but I love it because all that repeated failure, all that uncomfort, all that pain allows me to grow as a stronger man. Because comfort never builds us, but discomfort does. Giving up can feel smart because it saves energy, but it really just kills your spirit. Giving up just kills the potential for you to be uncomfortable so that you can grow. My mother got to her position where she is today, not because she was comfortable, but because life was incredibly uncomfortable. And nothing is a greater motivator than discomfort, right? Every time that I make a mistake here, every time that I stutter, every time that I word something that just sounds stupid to the point where a viewer wouldn't even understand or I don't even understand, makes me want to work harder. It makes me want to be better at speaking, or be better at communicating, or be better at logically thinking. And I'm not going to cut it out. I'm not going to try and digitally fix these things because I need to fail. I need to post something that people will go, yeah, you sucked. You got to work harder and work better. And I will. I'll be honest. I'm going to grow. That's the plan. I don't rehearse these things. Like, I might go over my talking points, but I don't rehearse these videos. I don't script these videos. I don't edit these videos. And I intend to keep it that way because that's what makes it humble and that's what makes it honest. And I think opinions, when shared honestly, are the most precious thing ever, right underneath girls. Because I think, well, I just have to say that. I think women are the most precious thing, beautiful thing on the planet. But right below them are our communication and conversation and having honest thought. And when they're together, right, to having a lovely woman who you can have healthy and beautiful communication with, that's the goal. But I'm not going to edit that out. Why would I try and manufacture that something that's fake when I can just be shameless in being myself and happy being myself and trying to become this better man? So, every time you keep on going, right, because it's one thing when you're shameful and give up, but every time you keep on going, even when no one else sees it, you're proving faith. And that's a really difficult one because often people only want to go when it's recognized from other people, when it's recognized from their friends and their family, and especially and female individuals or female influences, right? Men want women to look into them and go, wow, you're a good man, because it's a really, really, really good approval or a really good piece of validation that comes from someone who you're trying to approve. And failure tests your belief when you are unseen. Because it's not just in God, but in yourself. You are, when completely alone, allowed to make mistakes, and no one will judge you. But honestly, it's when you are alone when I believe you shouldn't be trying to make mistakes the most. People think that they should be under the most amount of pressure or trying their hardest to not make mistakes when they're around women or when they're around their friends or when they're around their family. But I think it's when you're alone when you should be most pressured to not make mistakes, because that's when you're most welcome to be honest and most welcome to grow. Ultimately, if you're making mistakes, it doesn't matter where you are or who you're with. And ultimately, if you're making mistakes, it's really just for the benefit of your life and it's really just for you to grow. But you gotta have the mentality that allows you to want to work hard, especially when no one's looking. Because more often than not, you're gonna be alone than you are with people. I'm alone a lot more than I am with people. I'm alone sitting in my room right now while my parents are working, recording videos and working on things. If I don't do this when I'm alone and I only do it when people are around, well, first of all, you know, the videos would be worse quality because you hear my family talking. But second of all, there'd be way less videos because, well, I'm alone more often than not. So, because of that, my phone's just giving me... Oh, hold on. Ooh. Speaking of family, I have to pick up my family member, so this video is going to be cut a little short. But anyways, so, you got to keep on going, especially when you are unseen, because most of the work happens when you're unseen, because most of the time, you are unseen. People have no idea what you're thinking, people have no idea what you're going through, people have no idea or any sort of appreciation or comprehension to the amount of effort you're putting in. So why spend more effort trying to teach them when you can spend more effort just becoming better? Endurance is masculine peace. Being calm and persistent under pressure is what a masculine man or a good man should be, right? The big man who's got this little boy inside of him who wants to be calm, but at the end of the day is finding true peace and true calmness when he's under pressure. I love being under pressure. I love being high stakes situation because it makes me want to perform, and I love performing. I love working hard. I love being told that I made mistakes and then fixing those mistakes and then given an opportunity. Life really sucks for me when I make mistakes and I can't give myself, or no one gives me an opportunity to work hard. That's why the whole relationship part of my life has really been difficult, because I've made mistakes, but I'm not given an opportunity to improve on my mistakes, which sucks. Because all I want to do is make things right. I just want to fix things. I just want to be healthy and have this beautiful, healthy commitment. But that's not how things work with other people. You can only do this with yourself. So that's why you can only do this when you're alone. Because when you're with other people, you can give yourself 1,000 opportunities and 1,000 pieces of forgiveness. But other people, you can't promise to yourself that they will give you forgiveness and that they will give you another opportunity. So that's why you need to do this under pressure stuff predominantly when you're alone, because you can give yourself the grace of forgiveness more often than other people. Because the world doesn't reward a quitter. The world remembers people who finish. And that applies to people who make mistakes. Because more often than not, humans naturally take mistakes as failure. They take mistakes as quitting. But a good person will go through 1,000 mistakes, 1,000 pieces of failure, and never quit. And only through all of that will people maybe start to understand the amount of work you're putting in. Not on the first mistake, not on the second mistake, not on the 100th mistake, but maybe once you've made a fucking million mistakes and then keep on going, then people will appreciate you for the amount of work ethic that you have. Or sorry, they'll appreciate you for the amount of dedication and the work ethic that you have. But ultimately, point is just do the work alone, do the work when you're with people, focus especially when you are alone, because predominantly you will be alone, and be comfortable with becoming this man who is comfortable being uncomfortable. Because true failure is brought with you giving up on that idea of discomfort versus failing in the discomfort. You can be uncomfortable and fail 1,000 times, but the moment you give up on being uncomfortable is the moment you reach true failure, right? And you got to take inventory in these moments. What failed? Why did you fail? What can you do differently? That's how you improve. You got to forgive yourself, right? Regret chains men to the past. When you're always regretting something, though you do want to work harder in the future, you're not giving yourself the opportunity to forget and move on. Now that's a bit of a touchy one, because my regret allows me to want to work harder. It gives me motivation. But if in the mind of someone who's unhealthy, regret becomes a reason to not work hard. So you can hold on to regret, but that has to be a purpose to want to work harder and not a reason to give up. And that's really dangerous, because men often use regret to give up. Oh, I made a mistake, so I'm not going to try again. Oh, I messed up again, so whatever, I'll give up. In my mind, I'm like, I messed up, so I'm going to do it 200 times better next time. I made a mistake, so I'm going to come back and do it amazingly. I said the wrong thing, well, tomorrow you're getting flowers, right? That's how I work. I want to give it my all, and I hate when I don't. So move, do things, act. You got to rebuild, create, do something. Make beauty out of your failures. Make something great out of your mistakes. Don't let them be wasted. Don't let the motivation just drain out to nothing. Because you can't fix the past, but you can surely redeem it, right? Think of the people who've gone to prison. They've made a lot of mistakes. But you see some of them come out and they live beautiful lives, and they're like, yeah, I had this horrible life in my past. And you're like, what? And they're like, yeah. Well, you can appreciate that because they've been given every reason to give up, and yet they don't. Because a strong man doesn't erase his mistakes, he redeems them. And I pray that one day I'll be seen as a strong man who's made a lot of mistakes in my life, but I'm trying so desperately to redeem them. And hopefully I will be given that validation from the person I care about, such that they see the redemption that I'm chasing and the good man that I'm going to become. Because every great man who's failed before succeeded, but none of them stopped, right? Every great man who has failed and then later succeeded went through that period of failure and never gave up. So you could be right before your next big win. Your next big win could be literally tomorrow. and you wouldn't know it because you gave up. You wouldn't know that you were going to win at the end of the year, or at the end of the month, or in the next 10 years because you gave up now. You got hurt. You failed again and again and again. But the next big win could literally be next. That sounds like some crazy casino logic, like, yes, please keep on gambling, you might win. But you're not gambling, you're living. And in real life, you will win if you keep on trying. Because failure builds wisdom. Quitting just kills your destiny. Mistakes are the proof that you are trying. It's proof to everyone that you're working hard and you're becoming something. And they might not realize that the first time or the third time, but they will realize it in the hundreds of times that you failed and you kept on going. Because the only true failure is giving up. My name is Nolan T. Painter, and thank you for watching.